Emily pulled up to her new apartment building. It stood on the outskirts of town, a solitary sentinel against the encroaching woods. The brick facade was faded and worn, but there was a certain charm to its aged elegance. The windows, like watchful eyes, seemed to follow her every move. Emily hefted her suitcase from the trunk and lugged it up the creaking front steps. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and old wood. Inside, the lobby was dimly lit, shadows dancing in the corners. Despite its eerie stillness, Emily felt a surge of excitement. This was a fresh start, a chance to build a new life. The apartment itself was spacious, with high ceilings and large windows that overlooked the quiet street. The floorboards groaned underfoot, and the pipes clanged and hissed. But Emily found herself strangely drawn to the building's quirks. It felt alive, filled with stories waiting to be told. As she unpacked her belongings, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. A cold draft snaked through the apartment, raising goosebumps on her arms. It was probably just the old windows, she thought, dismissing the shiver that ran down her spine. Little did she know, the building held a dark secret, and she was about to become a part of its chilling history. The first 3 nights in the apartment passed without incident. Emily found solace in the quiet solitude, the only sounds the creaking of the building and the rustling of leaves outside her window. On the 4th night, however, something changed. A faint whisper, barely audible, drifted from the wall. It was a woman's voice, soft and mournful. Emily paused, her heart pounding in her chest. She strained to listen, but the sound faded into the stillness. Had she imagined it? The next night, the whispers returned, louder this time. They seemed to slither along the walls, swirling around her like smoke. Emily could almost make out words, pleas for help that sent chills down her spine. Fear, cold and clammy, tightened its grip on her. Night after night, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to follow her, echoing through the apartment. Sleep became impossible. Emily was living on a knife edge, her nerves frayed by the constant torment. She knew she had to find the source of the whispers, to unravel the mystery that haunted her new home. Desperate for answers, Emily went to the building manager, a gruff old man named Mr. Henderson. He listened patiently to her story, his face etched with skepticism. "Whispers, you say?" he asked, stroking his chin thoughtfully. "Are you sure you weren't just hearing things?" Emily insisted that the whispers were real, that they were driving her insane. Mr. Henderson sighed, his eyes filled with a mixture of pity and annoyance. "Look, miss," he said, his voice softening, "this building is as sound as a drum. Nobody's lived in the apartment next to yours for years." He assured her that there was nothing to worry about, that the whispers were probably just the wind whistling through the old pipes. But Emily knew better. The whispers were too clear, too real. She left Mr. Henderson's office no closer to the truth, her fear morphing into a steely determination to uncover the building's secrets. That night, as Emily lay in bed, her mind racing, a new sound sent shivers down her spine. It was a scratching sound, faint at first, coming from the wall behind her bed. It grew louder, more insistent, like claws scraping against plaster. Emily's blood ran cold. The whispers, the scratching, it was all connected somehow. She knew with a certainty that chilled her to the bone that something was trapped inside the wall. Driven by a desperate curiosity and a growing sense of dread, Emily began to examine the wall. She ran her fingers over the rough surface, her heart pounding in her chest. And then she felt it, a slight indentation, a soft spot in the plaster. With trembling hands, Emily grabbed a hammer and chisel from her toolbox. The scratching grew more frantic as she chipped away at the plaster. Dust filled the air, choking her, but she couldn't stop. She had to know what was behind the wall, what dark secret the building held captive. Finally, with a loud crack, a section of the wall crumbled away, revealing a small, dark space beyond. Emily held her breath, her heart pounding in her ears. Reaching into the opening, her fingers brushed against something cold and hard. With a gasp, Emily pulled back her hand. She fumbled for her phone, her fingers shaking so badly it slipped from her grasp. As her eyes adjusted to the darkness, she could just make out the shape of a human skeleton, its bony fingers curled inward. The whispers stopped. The scratching ceased. A heavy silence descended upon the apartment, broken only by the sound of Emily's ragged breathing. The skeleton, trapped within the walls for who knows how long, had finally found its voice, only to be silenced again. Then, from the depths of the newly revealed room, a new sound emerged. It wasn't a whisper but a deep guttural voice filled with a chilling malice. "You're next," it growled, echoing through the apartment, seeping into Emily's bones. Emily stumbled back, her eyes wide with terror. The phone slipped from her grasp and clattered to the floor. She was trapped, alone with a voice from beyond the grave, a voice that promised a fate worse than death.